Welcome back to our economics class, session number 1 today. Okay, and in the last class, we discussed about various aspects related with the non-competitive markets. Okay, monopoly. Okay, the basic concept is a monopoly, and we're comparing the monopoly competitive or a monopoly situation or a non-competitive market condition with the perfect market situation or perfect competition. Okay, so number of things we discussed here, number of graphs we analyzed. Okay, and today we are going for a new topic today. Okay, and it's here. So for the last class we discussed up to here. Okay, now today we want to start here with using average and marginal curves. Using averages and marginal curves. Okay, that is related with the cost of the production. Cost of the production. So you can see number of curves here. MC curve, marginal cost curve, AC curve, average cost curve, and demand curve is equal to average revenue, and marginal revenue curve is here. Okay. So first of all, we want to go back to the chapter firms under perfect competition. We studied about the cost of production of different firms. Okay, cost of production of different firms there, and how it will affect the revenue of the firm. Okay, so we are going for analyzing that again here. The analysis shown above can also be conducted using average and marginal revenue. So this method, so we studied about how the firms are always trying to maximize the profit. Okay, so in this graph we studied that the firms will produce the product, the distance between or the difference between the TC and TR is highest or the maximum. The monopolistic firm will prefer that quantity to produce in the market. The same graph. Okay, so we explained that with the help of the TC, I mean total cost and total revenue. We are able to explain that with the help of marginal cost curve, average cost curve, and average revenue and marginal revenue, average revenue and marginal revenue. So this graphic is a somewhat complicated one. It's a complex one. Okay, so slight trouble will be there to understand this. So I am giving an opportunity for you people. Okay, first of all, back to that chapter, firms under perfect competition. Okay, and we want to learn almost all the aspects that related with the cost of production, right? Cost of production and the relationship between the cost of production and the firm's revenue. So we are keeping this topic pending, and we will complete the next chapter. I give you an idea. First of all, want to learn that area properly for an easy understanding. Okay, again we are able to complete this topic like a comparison with the perfect competition. That also only after understanding that particular idea. Okay, up to here. Okay, so you want to learn the cost of production properly, and the relationship between the cost of production and the revenue of the firms. So we are able to complete that particular topic. Anyway, we will discuss that here. The critical views related with the non-competitive market condition, some critical views. Okay, the results presented above, so the result what we learned earlier, shows an extremely negative picture of the impact of monopoly in a commodity market. So a commodity market, the concept of monopoly have a negative impact, a negative idea is there with the monopolistic market. So we know that in monopoly, always the monopolistic firms are trying to maximize the profit. Okay, so is that clear? So monopoly, the firm will always try to increase the profit. The idea is clear, right? Okay, always they will do that, but it will create a problem for the consumers. It is not at all positive to the consumers, right? So the firms will produce the product and they will fix the supply to the market, then they will fix the price also. So monopoly always create more profit to the firm. Okay, so here the monopoly firms only benefit for themselves. Okay, so the monopoly will create profit for the firm or profit for the producers only. There is no benefit for the consumers. There is no benefit for the consumers. The monopoly firm receives a higher profit and a positive profit even in long run. And both short run and long run, the monopolistic firm, it will create profit. But in a perfect competition condition, we studied that in short run they are unable to create much profit, but in the long run they will produce more profit, and vice versa. But here in the monopoly, in both the short run and long run, these firms are creating profit. On the other hand, consumers get a lesser quantity of the output and have to pay more for each unit consumed. So what the monopolistic firm will do here, they will sell the product in the market for the maximum price comparing with the cost of production. If cost of production is zero also, they will try to create the maximum profit. So it is not beneficial for the consumer. So monopoly market condition or non-competitive market condition for the firms, it is not good for the consumers. Okay, we can say like that. It is not good for the consumer. So we think that only one seller is there in the market. Okay, only he has the product with him. That products are that much necessary for the consumers, and he will fix a price that is more than the market price. Basically, we will force to purchase that. There is no other opportunity, there is no other choices. Okay, so that's what it is, a negative one. Okay, monopolistic firms or its market condition or non-competitive market condition is a negative one for the consumers. However, varying views have been expressed by economists concerning the question of monopoly. So different economists are giving different views, okay, or their views are different related with the monopolistic market condition. First, it can be argued that monopoly of a kind described above cannot exist in the real world. So the monopoly market condition, that what we learned earlier. So we learned that in the market only one seller will be there, only one producer is there. He is the person or the firm who fixing the price for the commodity. He is maintaining the supply. Okay, so the price creating opportunities are always with that particular firm. That's what we studied. But related with the real world, that concept is not correct. Okay, if you are observing, so we are able to understand that not only one firm, number of different firms are there in the market. Okay, they are selling the same product. So the government or the administrative system will not give chance to any particular people or any particular firm to fix the price there. So government will interfere in that. Okay, so it is an imaginary concept. There is no such situation existing in the real world, like a monopolistic condition. This is because all commodities are, in a sense, substitute for each other. So the commodities what we are using today, all these products have its own substitutes, right? So substitutes are there means no monopoly will exist. So we want to understand that in today's market condition, substitutes are there. But what we discussed earlier, a condition where is no substitutes available, right or not? Only one product is there that is necessary. Example, in the case of water, right? No substitutes are available. We want to use that. Clear? But coming to the real market condition, we are able to find a substitute for the goods what we are using. Okay, this in turn is because of the fact that all the firms are producing commodities. Again, next condition. First condition, substitute are there for the product what we are using. So no monopoly is available or no monopoly can exist in the market. Okay, next condition, what is that? Not only one firm, number of firms are there, number of production units are there, they are producing the product, there. So it is not possible for maintaining a monopolistic condition in the market. Okay, next one. Here another argument is that even a firm is a pure Okay, in the final analysis, compete to obtain the income in the hands of consumers. So all these firms, all these producers are competing to get income or get money from the consumers, money from the consumers. Okay, not only that, almost all these producers are producing the product related with the income of the consumers. Another argument is that even a firm in a pure monopoly situation is never without competition. If it is a monopoly also related with the products, we can say that they are not free from competition from the other firms. Okay, this is because the economy is never stationary. All the economies are developing. Okay, if today only one company, maybe chances are there for tomorrow the number of companies or firms will increase in the market. Number of consumers will increase in the market. Demand for the commodities will change always. It will always fluctuating. We already studied about the price elasticity of demand. Okay, so it is fluctuating. So no markets are stationary, which means stationary in the sense what is that? Without any movement, right? But markets are moving. Okay, always we are able to find changes. So new commodities using new technologies are always coming up. So in the market we are always able to find this kind of changes. It is always changing. Always new commodities are there in the market. Always new commodities are there in the market. Not only that, these firms are using new technologies to produce the product. So they are able to create changes in the price of the commodity. Okay, if the firm is able to reduce the cost of production, definitely we can say that the firm will reduce the cost of that particular product. I mean, price of that particular product there. So they are able to make more money. I mean, more income. Okay. So all the firms are trying to do so. So there is a competition is visible in the market. Hence, the monopoly firm always has competition in the long run. Even in the short run also, the threat of competition is always present, and the monopoly firm is unable to behave in a manner we have described above. Okay, so what is that? Okay, always competition is there, threat is there for the firm from the other firms. So no firms can behave like a monopolistic firm there, because always in the market we are able to find a number of other companies, number of new technologies, they are producing the product with a cheaper cost. Okay, still that is one view. Okay, so no perfect monopoly system is existing in the market condition. That is one argument. Another view argues that the existence of monopolies may be beneficial to society. Okay, one argument is monopoly is not existing. If it is existing, it is not good for the consumers. Okay, next argument. Okay, monopoly may be beneficial to society since monopoly firms earn large profit. They possess sufficient funds to take up research and developmental work. It seems clear. What is that? What I told here? In this sense, basically, these large monopolistic firms or big companies, their profit is too high, their value of their assets are too high, so they can use that money for the development of the society, like they can spend money for research and development work, it seems. Are you accepting that? Are you accepting that? So today we know that a number of companies are there. They are trying to find out vaccines for COVID-19 disease. Number of private companies are there, medicinal or pharmaceutical companies. All these companies are spending millions of millions. Okay, they are spending millions to find or discover, or we can say invent that particular vaccine. Okay, so it's a good one for the society, right? Is that good or not? So the research and development is good for the society. So in that context, we can say that the monopoly is good. Okay, so they can use that money. So something which are small, perfectly competitive firm is unable to do. By doing such research, monopoly firms are able to produce better quality goods. Okay, so all the monopolistic firms, all the firms, they are selling huge quantity of the product. I mean, homogeneous product in the market. Okay, always they will try to improve the quality of their product, by doing research, there. So, for example, coming to the case of retail food outlets, you might have heard about McDonald's, KFC, right? Okay, so these companies, they are possess their own recipes. Clear or not? Secret recipes are for these two giant companies there. Okay, Clear or not? So always they will try to discover new flavors, new tastes. Okay, then that is good for the society. For example, I told that. So it is not good for the entire society. Only well-off sections can enjoy such kind of things there, right? By doing such research, monopoly firms are able to produce better quality goods. Also, because of the more modern technologies which such firms are able to use, their marginal cost may be so much lower that the equilibrium level of output where MC is equal to MR. That's what equilibrium we know that. Marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. Maybe even larger than that in the case of the perfect competition. Okay, so in this condition, the large firms are able to produce the product for by spending low cost and they are able to create more profit. Okay, these are the two arguments related with the monopolistic condition or a monopoly condition. Okay, next one we're discussing about the other non-perfectly competitive markets. Okay, not perfect competition but non-perfect competitive conditions. What are they? Monopoly. Okay, we are discussing about monopolistic competition. Monopoly, we discussed what is monopoly and its drawbacks also we discussed. Now here moving to its monopolistic competition. Monopolistic competition. We now consider a market structure where the number of firms is large. There is free entry and exit of firms, but the goods produced by them are not homogeneous. Such a market structure is called monopolistic competition. Underline that. To answer for that question. What do you mean the term monopolistic competition? Reading one more time and explain that. Now consider a market structure where the number of firms is large. Number of firms, it is too large. There is free entry and exit of firms. Clear? Free entry and exit of firms also. But the goods produced by them are not homogeneous. They are not producing the same product. They are producing different products. Not homogeneous, which means heterogeneous products they are producing. Clear? The products are not homogeneous. Number of firms are there in the market. But the product what they are producing, those are heterogeneous products. Different products. Okay, such market structure is called monopolistic competition. Okay, such market condition is basically termed as monopolistic competition, where number of firms are there, they are not producing the same product but different products, Such market situation, that situation is basically termed as monopolistic competition. This kind of a structure is more commonly visible. There is a very large number of biscuit producing firms, example, but many of these biscuits being produced are associated with some brand name and are distinguishable from one another by these brand names and packaging and are slightly different in taste. Okay, so we are able to find this monopolistic competition in our market condition. Take the case of biscuits available in our market. Okay, can you give some names of some biscuit companies? They are producing biscuits. Come on, fast. Names of some biscuit companies, please. Ashish Bini, Aparna, Anjosipi, Femina, Subampal, Elvina, Anna, Annette, Abdul, Anila Mohan, Aditya, Amalda. These many children are here. Okay, come on. Give me some answers for that. Come on, first.
Oreo.
Oh, Oreo. Then Parle-G, Britannia. Then other companies are there. Huh?
Arrowroot.
That is Britannia Arrowroot. Then
Unibic.
what, Ashish?
Unibic.
Unibic, yeah. Okay, so the thing is, if you test these different brands, okay, easily we are able to come to a conclusion. These biscuits are named biscuits, but different in its taste, right? Right or not? And brand names also different. Brand names are different. So number of firms are there. They are producing different products. Clear or not? Only the usage is homogeneous, but the products are different, right? So here, this kind of a structure of more commonly visible, there is a very large number of biscuit producing firms, for example, but many of these biscuits being produced are associated with some brand name will be there. Brand name will be there with the biscuit. Okay, and we are able to find the differences of one biscuit company to the other by the packaging, the color, okay, graphics of the pack, and taste of the biscuit. Okay, clear or not? Okay, for example, ITC, it's a company, ITC, okay, that producing different types of biscuits. Okay, example, Mom's Magic. Okay, Mom's Magic, that's in green color, that's in purple color, that's in pale orange color. Like the different packs, like packing as there. One is with the cashew nut, one is with the choco chips, one is plain, like that. Okay, ITC, that's the producer of that particular biscuit. Okay, ITC. What is the full form of ITC? ITC. ITC. So you're purchasing your notebooks also that made by ITC, that company, particular company. Classmates notebooks. Observe that. Huh? ITC. Logo will be there, like a triangle structure will be there for the logo. ITC, right? The name of the company is Indian Tobacco Company. Right? So just observe that. It is producing different products, but the name of the company is Indian Tobacco, ITC. Observe that and find out is it correct or not. Indian Tobacco Company, ITC. So they are producing the product. They are different in its taste. Okay, clear. Same packaging but different color and different taste. Taste. The consumer develops a taste for particular brand of biscuits over time. So consumers will purchase the biscuit. Not for 1 day, 2 day, 3 days. Okay. Some people, they will prefer a particular brand of biscuits from the shops there. They will purchase that only. Example, Aparna is like to have a bourbon, right, Aparna? Right?
Yes.
Bourbon? or what is that, Aparna? Tell me. So Aparna is shaking her head like anything. That's what I'm asking to Aparna. Tell me, Aparna.
It's a dark fantasy.
Huh? What is that?
It's a dark fantasy.
Dark fantasy. Okay, Aparna like dark fantasy. Okay. Ashish Benny, tiger biscuit, right? T for tiger. Or G for genius? No. What about Hanna? What is your favorite biscuit? Which one is that? Hanna? Hanna?
Yes, sir.
Tell me. Nothing favorite? No favorite biscuits for Hanna, it seems. Hanna is not ready to give the answer. The secret, it seems. Okay, let it, whatever it is. Okay, fine. What about Amalraj?
Sir,
What is your favorite brand of biscuit? I am asking.
sir, hide and seek.
Pardon?
Sir, hide and seek.
Hide and seek. Okay, fantastic. So different people, you can understand that they will purchase that product. Why they are? Because of the taste of that particular product. Okay, here the consumer develop a taste of a particular brand or biscuit over time, or becomes loyal to the particular brand for some reason. So we are purchasing that thing because of some reasons there. Okay, so basically, I will purchase this Poppins toffees. Chocolate Poppins. Okay, so what is the specialty of that chocolate? In my childhood also, one pack that is rupees 2, and today also the price of that is rupees 2 only. Clear or not? No change in the price. Clear. Taste also same only. Produced by Parle Agro. Okay, so purchasing that is existing in the market for a long period of time. Okay, so my childhood means at the time of independence. Okay, since independence to still today the product is available in the market. The price is 2 rupees only. Price is 2 rupees only. So some people are like that. They will like to purchase some particular brand product there. Okay, here, however, if the price difference become large, and these therefore not immediately willing to substitute it for another biscuit. So the producers, the consumers, they are loyal to a brand or they like a particular brand. It is difficult to take them from using that brand to the another one. Very difficult, right? Clear or not? So different food items also like that only. If you like one, we will give give preference for that particular item there. Okay, we will not choose any other product there. It is very difficult to take them away. However, if the price difference becomes large, the consumer would be willing to choose a biscuit of another brand. Okay, but suddenly, okay, every day I am purchasing Poppins, for example, for 2 rupees. And today I came to know that the price of the Poppins that increased to 20 rupees. 2 to 20 all of a sudden. What will happen here? I will switch, I will change my mindset to purchase Poppins to some other chocolate. Right or not? Will change or not? A huge gap in the price means definitely we will do that. A big gap is there means definitely the consumers will do the same. They will change. Okay. To another brand, another substitute. The price difference required to the consumer to change in the brand consumer may vary. Therefore, if price is a particular brand is lowered, some consumers will shift to consuming that brand. Further, lowering of the price will lead to more consumers shifting to the brand with a lower price. So, price of a particular commodity suddenly it is decreasing. Also, number of consumers will switch to that brand there. Basically, some people in the market they are not willing to purchase or they are not interested to purchase this dark fantasy because of the cost of their product. It is too high. Okay, for 10 to 8 pieces, we want to give 25 rupees. It seems right. Aparna, is that correct? Okay, for a 8 packet, we want to pay 25 to 30 rupees for that. So, for normal customers, it is not that possible to purchase. So, suddenly you think that the price diminished to 5 rupee per packet. What will happen? What will happen? What will happen? Think about that. What will happen there? Everyone will purchase that, right or not? Definitely everyone will purchase. So sudden shift in the price or price lower, definitely the consumer will purchase. So people, those who regularly purchasing this Tiger biscuit or Parle-G, they will shift from that particular brand to this one, dark fantasy. Might happen. Chances are there. All right. So that's what in this condition basically. Hence, the demand curve faced by the firm is not horizontal. Okay, it is not perfectly elastic. Okay, not horizontal. It's not perfectly elastic. As it is the Okay, as is the case with the perfect competition, the demand curve faced by the firm is not market demand curve as in the case with monopoly. In the case of monopolistic competition, the firm expects small increase in demand if it lowers the price. In the case of a monopoly, the firm will fix the price. So they will always maximize the profit. But coming to the competitive condition, monopolistic competition, the changes we are able to find in the demand curve. If the price lowers, demand will increase. Hence, the marginal revenue is slightly less than the average revenue. The firm increases its output whenever the marginal revenue is greater than the marginal cost. Okay, but since the marginal revenue is lower than the price, the marginal revenue becomes equal to the marginal cost at a lower level of output compared to perfect competition. That is the only difference what we can see here. The difference between the perfect competition and monopolistic competition. Just to read it again and understand that, write a question there. What are the basic differences between the monopolistic competition and perfect competition or perfectly competitive market situation? Write down the question. Next one. For this reason, the monopolistic competitive firm produces lower output as compared to the perfectly competitive firm. Okay, so the monopolistic competitive firm produces lower output as compared to the perfectly competitive firm. Given lower output, since consumers as a whole are willing to pay more per unit, the price of the commodity becomes higher than the price under perfect competition. So, in a monopolistic competition, the producers always will produce a lesser quantity or a low quantity of products there because they are able to sell that for a higher price. Okay, clear or not? So, they are able to attract the producers. The consumers, not the producers, the consumers. The situation described above is one of that exists in the short run, but the market structure of monopolistic competition allows for a new firms to enter the market. If the firm in the industry are receiving positive amount of profit in the short run, this will attract new firms to start producing the commodity, enter into the market. So, in the perfectly monopolistic competitive condition, if a firms are producing or firms are creating more profit, it will attract other firms also, right? Other firms also will enter into the market. They also will start production. As a result of that, competition will increase, it will reflect on the price of the commodity. As output of the commodity expands, price in the market will tend to fall till profit becomes zero. We already discussed this situations already. There is now no attraction for new firms to enter. Conversely, if firms in the industry are facing losses in the short run, some firms would stop producing. That means exit from the market. So number of firms are there in the market condition. Definitely, because of this competition, the price will fall to zero. Number of firms will exit from the market. Already we studied in the perfect competition that, okay, the commodity and the fall in total quantity produced would lead to a higher price. Then what happened there? Again, price will increase. Only some firms are there, right? Entry or exit would halt once profit becomes zero, and this would serve as the long run equilibrium. So, because of this free entry and exit, these producers will stop when the price reaches zero. The profit reaches zero, so that will create an equilibrium in the long run. Since the demand of the output of each firm continues to increase with a fall in the price of its brand, the long run equilibrium continues to be associated with a lower level of total output and higher prices as compared to perfect competition. Clear? So basically, this competitive, monopolistic competition, they're always going for a lower level of total output and higher prices. Okay. Lower number of products produced and try to sell that for a higher prices. That's what a competitive, monopolistic competition. So they are able to create more profit. Okay. So read it and understand. 2-3 questions are there. I already told you. Just analyze that and learn that properly. Next one. Another market condition. Now we studied about the monopolistic competition. Next one is called to be oligopoly. Okay, 6.2.2, how do firms behave in a oligopoly? First of all, we want to understand what is this oligopoly. Okay, so if the market of a particular commodity consists of more than one seller, but the number of sellers is few, the market structure is termed oligopoly. Underline, oligopoly. What is that? If the market of a particular commodity consists of more than one seller, okay, but the number of sellers is few. It is more than one, but not many. Okay, it is few. The market structure is termed oligopoly. This market condition is termed as a oligopoly. Okay, here the special case of oligopoly where there are exactly two sellers is termed duopoly. Okay, so in oligopoly condition we know that more than one seller, but the number it is few number. Okay, if only two sellers are there, means we can say this duopoly. Oligopoly only, but that only two sellers are there, then we can say that it's a duopoly. Okay. In analyzing this market structure, we assume that the product sold by the two firms is homogeneous and there is no substitute for the product produced by any other firm. So, in a duopoly or oligopoly condition, just imagine there are two firms to sell the product. They are producing the same product. Now, there is no difference between these products there, right? And there is no substitute for the product. Example, take it as salt. Okay, salt, right? Two firms are there, firm A and firm B, both are producing a salt only. Okay, so this condition is basically termed as a duopoly. Okay, so there is no substitute for the product. No other firms in the market is producing the same product. So firm C is there, firm D is there. They are producing sugar, C producing soap. Okay, another product. So there are no other products are producing a salt there. Okay, so that is the condition basically termed as oligopoly. Okay, given that there are a few firms, the output decision of any one firm would necessarily affect the market price and therefore the amount sold by the other firm as also their total revenues. Okay, so here there is a few firms, the output decision of any one firm would necessarily affect the market price. Okay, decision on the output. Clear? So one firm is decided to produce more and sell in the market. Definitely the price will change. Okay, it will affect the production of the second firm also, because they also want to stay in the market. Okay, so they also will do as per the idea of firm A. Clear? Or just against the idea of firm A. Clear? It is therefore only to be expected that other firms would react to protect their profit. This reaction would be through taking fresh decision about the quantity and price of their own output. There are various ways in which it can be theories. We briefly explain two of them. So, if only two firms are there means one firm take one decision. For example, in the case of mobile phone service providers, we know that okay, Geo is reduced the price like anything, right? What happened? Other companies also produce their price. They also want to stay in the market, or else no consumers will purchase or use the service of that service providers. Okay, and then they wanted to leave the market. They want to shut down there. So they will do almost like what firm A did. Okay, that is. There are various ways in which this can be theorized. We briefly explain two of them. Okay, the next class we'll discuss this. And today I told you people to learn, okay, cost of production. Cost of production, the chapter, total concept you want to learn, then only we are able to explain the next two topics. Okay, so topics what we left here, just observe. What are they? Using average and marginal cost, how can we explain the relationship between the total cost and the total revenue? Okay, using average and marginal cost curve. Okay, MC curve and AC curve. So want to learn that. And MC and AC, it's a relation with the average revenue and the marginal revenue. Marginal cost and average cost related with average revenue and marginal revenue. Marginal revenue, and it's a relation with the total revenue. TR, total revenue. Total revenue. So cost of production and the revenue for the firm both are connected. What is that connection? Okay, clear? Everything should be learned properly for the next class. Clear? Okay, so again, anyone those who not completed their project or art integrated assignments, just submit that by today evening. Okay, I want to report that, so I am requesting you to just do it and take the printout of the same and keep with you. Physical copy you have to submit at any time. Sir will inform you, right? Okay, so printed copy also want to keep with you. So before that, just send me that. If any errors are there, or serious errors are there, I will say that just to complete the task. Okay, and ready for submitting these records. Okay. Okay, everyone, thank you very much. And this is the last class before the Christmas. So I'm using this opportunity to wish you everyone a happy Christmas and a prosperous Christmas. Okay, well, everyone, thank you very much. We will meet in the next class, probably after the Christmas. And again, remember to submit your projects and assignments. Thank you.